Hey, what's up? This is ASICS here. Today we're investigating not only one of the most unusual things that we have seen on this channel to date, but an extremely significant one, both for Acronym and, I suppose, for the world of fashion generally, because it's not a piece of apparel, it's not even an accessory, and no, MacBook-wielding Starbucks girls, this is not an accessory. It is, in fact, a laptop. Created in collaboration with ASUS sub-brand ROG, we have here the ROG ZEPHYRUS G14-ACRNM RMT01. I don't think anyone saw this collab coming, and massive thanks to them for being able to send this out so I could cover it in this video. Feeling very blessed at that. But yeah, luxury fashion brand, hardware manufacturer, coming together. 2020 is certainly hitting different with these collabs, and certainly a tier above the kinds of gaming crossovers that we looked at a month or so ago in that video before. But we're going to be checking out all of the various ways that this has been reimagined into a uniquely Acronym product, and yeah, what exactly is different about this very limited device. We'll also talk a bit about the philosophy behind this laptop, what informed or inspired the decisions to alter and change this laptop into the form that we see here. First up, let's get the basics out of the way. The RMT01 is essentially a modified Zephyrus G14, and this particular model comes equipped with a Ryzen 9 CPU, the 4900H specifically, the NVIDIA RTX 2060 graphics card, which is the most powerful one that you can get in this chassis. You've also got 32GB of RAM in there, and a 1440p 60Hz screen. If you're into your tech, you'll know that these are pretty decent specs. This thing's going to be adept at content creation and gaming, although perhaps a little bit unbalanced. And I say that because for a gaming laptop, you wouldn't necessarily need 32 gigs of RAM, for example. I'd say the CPU is probably a little bit stronger than the GPU. That Ryzen 9 CPU, that can even beat out the 10th gen i7 in multi-core performance tests, so it really is a pretty chunky bit of kit. And many gamers would probably prefer a 1080p high refresh screen as opposed to going for the higher resolution of the 1440p, because in a portable device you don't really get the choice of both. But I'm not going to go too far into actual performance, because although this configuration was selected with purpose, which we'll talk about a little bit later, it's going to be pretty comparable to a regular Zephyrus G14, which is already available. Everything else though has been given the Acronym treatment, and it's exactly that stuff that we're going to focus on. So let's have a proper little look at the chassis and some of the physical goings on here. That Acronym treatment is pretty clear as soon as you open the box, and pretty much every different element, even this little quick start guide you get in the box, has been significantly changed with all of these Acronym graphics and stuff. So pretty much every different element has some kind of Acronym DNA in there. Most of this is nice, but pretty inconsequential. You get that initial fun experience of looking through all those different David Rudnick graphics that are put on the various places there, but it's not necessarily going to offer you anything long term. Except it is. Check out the air pack the device comes in. This is not just pretty cool, with again these David Rudnick graphics all over it, but it's actually designed to be used as a laptop sleeve and not just packaging. Normally something like this, of course, would just be discarded, but Acronym are saying, hey, instead of doing that, why not actually make use of it? And they've done that in a very simple way. They have just added a little Velcro tab on one side here, so you can open it up, take your laptop in and out, and then you can close it back up again. So this does actually function as a laptop sleeve and not just a piece of disposable packaging. So the recycling graphic that's on the back of the sleeve here becomes all the more relevant. Definitely fits into the brand's and certainly Errolson's ethos of environmental consciousness and extended use of products rather than immediate discarding. If I needed to take this somewhere I couldn't ensure its safety, I would definitely be putting it back in that sleeve, but I can't help but wish at the same time for a more conventional carrying solution, because that air pack, it looks kind of cool, but it does increase the footprint of the laptop quite significantly, far more than a normal sleeve would do. So personally, I would have preferred it if there was something else that was designed to be reused, like the laptop sleeve that comes inside the 3A5TS, for example. I think it would have been super cool to have a laptop sleeve with those same graphics on, and I think Acronym fans definitely would have been prepared to pay a bit more of a premium for something like that not many other people are going to have. But let's check out the device itself. This is where the real fun is after all, and we'll take a look at the keyboard first, because I think think this is where there's the first aesthetic surprise. I would have anticipated the kind of bright, bold, cyberpunk kind of colours and visual style that we've come to expect from previous collabs, like some of the Nike stuff, for example. But instead, what we've got here are around the outside, these function keys and stuff, very muted tones, much more sober, very industrial feeling. And the same goes for the centre of the keyboard as well. The typeface is pretty unusual. It's a serifed font. It was developed especially for this project. And again, it feels very sober, very mature. It feels like something you would see on a technical drawing or on a blueprint or something like that. And that's only furthered by the little A letters that you'll find in the corners of most of the keys here. At least from a distance, they resemble crop marks or like little designations for the edges of the keys. And fortunately, it doesn't mean that you type 4 A's every time you try and do a letter. What else has been changed on this chassis? Well, let's have a look at some of the edge details here, because you've got some little designations as to the product name. You've got these little messages that's like original laptop, do not steal, which I'm sure will be very effective. But also the top and the bottom are where things really get interesting. Let's flip this over. You'll see a whole host of different graphics here. Acronym are really making maximum use of all the available space here. It looks like it's packed with loads of different technology denoted by all these different mysterious symbols, as if it is a kind of coming together of lots of different ideas or styles or whatever. We've got the Brain logo here, we've got Acronym logos, we've got ROG logos, we've got this big Zephyrus text as well. There's just a little bit of everything. It's a shame you're not going to see this very often, because I think quite a lot of these logos are pretty cool. And on the lid here as well, you've got, again, more graphics going down the front here, and also more kind of naming designations on this little panel here as well. And I know what you're thinking at this point, yeah, that's all very well and good. You've got some graphics and little designs and things like that. But the lid is actually where things start to get more interesting still. It is a little bit of a fingerprint magnet. I don't know if that's coming out on the footage. Apologies if it is. But you'll notice these perforations that go across the whole lid. Again, very industrial looking style. Kind of reminds me of one of those, you get that like perforated like board material used to build things. Kind of, yeah, resembles that in some way. But these perforations are actually hiding something pretty interesting, which is something they call the anime matrix. That is the real name for it. It's basically an LCD display, or an LED display rather, underneath some of these perforations. The regular G14 does have this, crazy as it is, but Acronym not only extended the perforations that result from it across the entire lid, which gives it this much more uniform look, but they've also done the display in this exclusive Sakura pink colour, which gives it a little bit of spicy flavour, which is pretty cool. It also comes preloaded with 8 different Acronym designs, which they've made themselves, and you can run these in different speeds, different orders, stuff like that. So yeah, you can have Papa Errolson's face displayed on the front of your nice laptop 24/7 if you so desire, but you can also make your own stuff as well, which I think is pretty cool. Definitely going to give that a go at some point. And yeah, I think it's really nice on something that, a device that is already so heavily customized, that you can further be creative and make this device your own. It's a shame that the display doesn't go across the entire front of the laptop. I assume there's some technical reason for that, whether it be heat or power use or something like that, but you get this nice kind of horizontal, well, diagonal rather, stripe that goes down here. So it's a pretty impressive effect, and it's pretty noticeable too. And if you're still worried you're not getting the full Acronym visual experience, even the power brick has been upgraded with Acronym graphics, so they really have thought of everything in that respect. And all of that before we even turn the laptop on. When you do so, you're greeted by this custom sound and animation. It's very rare for a laptop to come with that. It's not easy to do yourself either, so that's a cool bit of customization. But once you've got the laptop on, and you see the default background, which is describing some mysterious stuff, we do have one more secret, and that relates to a dedicated key which has been added to the G14, which launches a piece of software called The Brain. This was designed by Errolson's brother Harlan. It's something that he's worked on for something like 15 years, and it's basically designed as a massive organizational tool for all aspects of your life. You can pretty much use it for whatever you want. It feels like a little bit of a blank slate in that respect. It's quite interesting that something like this has been baked into the hardware, as if to say, if you're the kind of person that is buying this tool or this product, you are also the kind of person that's going to want access to this kind of organizational software on a regular basis. You're a smart guy, you need access to Brain. But this version is special compared to the one that you can go and buy on the Brain website. It grants access to something called EXONET, and that's partly done via these little USB pendants, and you also get one of these along with the RMT01. At the moment, we don't know exactly what EXONET is going to do, or exactly how these USB keys, which are clearly designed to be kept on the user at all times, are going to play into that. But what we're imagining is some kind of way for all of the owners of these RMT devices to share data and content between them. Some kind of, special cloud server, basically. But we don't really know how deep the mystery is going to go here. I'm really looking forward to that secret being uncovered, because it's going to really elevate this collab from being a primarily visual one into a functional and a collaborative one that really, to my knowledge, has not been done in quite this way before. In a very real sense, with the RMT01, you are buying into more than just a product. And on that topic of buying into more, we need to talk about the philosophy behind this design, because what's clear is that this is no longer really a gaming laptop. I mean, on the inside you've got coloured W, A, S and D keys, but that is literally it in terms of things that are designed to satisfy gamers. Every other possible change has really not been designed with that in mind. As we've said, aesthetically it's very industrial, it's more muted, it's more sober, it doesn't really say epic gamer in any way, does it? This is a device designed for utility, for doing something. To not build the world is to destroy it, is what Evil Errolson said in the kind of run-up marketing campaign to this. And that's undoubtedly the philosophy here. That's reflected in the spec too. You're prioritizing CPU over GPU, you're adding that extra RAM, you're prioritizing resolution over refresh rate for the screen. All of those things are designed to make this a better productivity tool as opposed to a better gaming tool. What I expected when I first heard about this collab was like really bright, cyberpunk, slightly playful colours in the same way as what we've seen on Shadow Project stuff or on Presto or VaporMax collabs. Instead, they reimagined what this laptop is designed to do, and that's not only a very acronym thing to do, to deliberately defy expectations like that, but it gives it a bit of a different appeal. Somebody that wants a very portable and powerful laptop, but doesn't want that whilst looking like an epic gamer dude. But saying that doesn't mean I'm not going to use this for some epic gaming. And from my limited messing around on it so far, it did a pretty decent job of that, as it did doing a bit of video editing in Premiere. I think it's ironic that a fashion brand collab, rather than turning this into an accessory or focusing on making it look cool, is using those aesthetics to make it kind of something different from a utility perspective. Those unique aesthetics really differentiate it from anything else going, and of course there is value in having a very differentiated product, and as we've seen, there's lots of ways that this is aesthetically different to pretty much anything on the market. But in a real functional sense, I suppose it comes down to a couple of different things. You've got the Brain software and the hardware button designed to launch it. You've got the access to the EXONET through these USB sticks, whatever it is that might be, and these are 64 gig USB sticks in their own right, so they are actually useful. And you've got the specific hardware choice too, which is designed for a specific purpose to make this useful for content creation. And of course you've got the Air Pack 2 and the philosophy of reuse behind that. This retails in the UK at £2,400, and to pay that premium over and above the regular G14, clearly you have to be very interested both in the acronym design from an aesthetic perspective and some of the functionality and some of the specification that this particular laptop presents. It's certainly not for everyone, and your average gamer is probably going to pass this by. But I think the existence of a collab like this is really exciting, and if you're a content creator and you like the idea of having a device that feels very kind of work focused, very industrial in nature, and is also very unique, feels like it's kind of personalized to you, and of course you have an affinity for a brand like Acronym, then I think this is something that you'll find pretty exciting as well. And there you have it for the tour of the ROG ZEPHYRUS G14-ACRNM RMT01. Very interested to hear what you guys think about the existence of a product like this that I think is certainly pretty unexpected, but I think very unique, and as someone that is very into acronym and fashion generally, and into tech, this massively appeals to someone like me, so maybe some of you guys are kind of in the same camp here. I'm also very excited to say that we're going to have Errolson Hugh himself on the channel, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the design process behind this laptop. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be super exciting. But for this video, that is all. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. It is much appreciated. And as always, we will catch you next week with another video. Thanks so much for the amazing response on last week's video. So much good stuff in there. Astral plane crash though? No. Just no. And Deflate's pretty much nailed my thoughts on the Converse with that comment there, so shout out to you also. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you want to catch some more videos, they're going to be up at the top there. And if you haven't subscribed yet, but you enjoyed this laptop video, you want to find out more about that, then you better hit that subscribe button, because, well, you can be checking out that interview with Eros and Hugh as soon as it drops. It's going to be some point next week, so yeah, keep a lookout. It's going to be good.